Hey guys, it's Chris and Frank here with CNF Outdoors, and today we got something a little different. We're actually at the Sam Houston National Forest. I'm not going to tell you where we are because we're scouting some new public land hunting opportunities. A little different for us, but we're wanting to do something a little more challenging, get out and actually go back to a primitive way of hunting. So we're going to do some scouting today on some public land at the Sam Houston National Forest for bow season 2020.
Yeah, the first thing we're going to do, me and Chris have talked about it, and we're going to jump in the truck and kind of ride the boundaries of the parcel of land that we've chosen. We're pretty lucky. I'm not going to give any road numbers or anything like that away, but we do have highway to the north and west of us, a Forest Service road to the east, and pipeline to the south. So what I learned in the Army is for land navigation, you don't even really have to be good at land navigation. If you can ride your boundaries and get landmarks and something goes wrong in the woods, you can pick a cardinal direction and get out, right? As long as you know what's to the northwest, east, and south of you and approximately where you are, you can pick the closest way to get out. So safety first, we're gonna ride the boundaries and never forget to leave some information with a loved one at home knowing where you are. So I've never been to this parcel of land. I think Chris has been here maybe one time. We'll ride the boundaries around and get us a good game plan of where we're gonna scout today. So y'all come along, let's go take a walk in the woods. Well, it didn't take us very long after riding our boundary roads to find our first sign of deer. These were deer tracks that we had found in this muddy hole. Just a short walk down from where Chris had spotted the hog bed, we found some more deer tracks. And when we saw the tracks, there weren't a whole lot of them, but we decided to start looking for a game trail and see if we could see where they were crossing. As we kind of looked around and made our way down the right of way, we did spot a small game trail. It wasn't anything very large, and we were able to spot some scat as well. It looked to be probably hog scat, so we were thinking the hogs were just moving in and out of the area, and it was really brushy anyway. So we decided to keep pushing forward and looking for a better spot. After Chris noticed the adjacent game trails, I did push in a little bit, kind of have a look around the area. We put this on our list to go back and check, but ultimately we liked where we ended up putting up our trail cams better than this spot. But this was a nice location as well. So I think I made the comment that scouting kind of reminds me of shopping with my wife, because just when you think you find what you want, something else pops out and amazes you. This is kind of an idyllic shot right here where you can picture a buck coming down and take a drink in your head, but these trails were really beaten down, worn down. You can see there was a lot of human activity through here, as you can see as the camera pans around. And we did make our way around the edge of the pond, and we saw some hog and deer tracks, but we assume that they're coming down mostly at night. You probably wouldn't see much during the day.
So we decided to stop. We found two ponds on the map, so we decided to investigate, and we went to the first one, and it didn't seem too promising. Pretty big pond. It's another pretty big pond here as well. We'll show y'all here in a minute, but it don't look too promising either. What this reminds me of is more of a high school hangout spot. Come out here and drink some cold ones and listen to some music and party. I feel like Frank feels the same way, that there's a lot of hunting pressure probably in this area. So I think our original spot that we found is probably going to be more of a better place. What Frank's doing right now is he's making us a little bush fire. We're gonna cook up a can of beans. We're kind of hungry. It's lunchtime, 11 o'clock. So we figured we'd just sit here, eat a can of beans, maybe a sandwich, and
take a little break. We've been hard at it for a couple hours now.
yeah.
So,
you know.
just because you're in the bush don't mean you can't eat well, though.
Yeah.
Get us a little hot meal going on the hobo stove, and
the hobo stove.
we'll probably head back to
Our other spot.
and go ahead and set us up an area to start some surveillance once we get the
Yeah. We're going definitely go back to that other spot, get a camera up, and then figure the fastest possible way that we could get from a main road to that location.
We plan on doing the hunter's camp, right? We're going to stay at the hunter's camp during hunting season, and stay at the hunter's camp during hunting season, but we may be able to get to where we can get to the site we are on quicker from a road, so we'll have to scout that out. Let's see.
Frank brought his old can opener.
Bushcraft knife, never leave home without one.
And his hobo stove.
So we hope to do some catch and cooks for y'all, or some catch, clean and cooks at some point. But when we started these videos, it's not really conducive to long trips yet, because it ain't a real season for anything other than hogs, which we killed the other day, and we actually made some of those hogs. Well, the last one that Chris cooked or killed, we cooked it at work this last week. Chris made some hog
Cajun pan sausage.
Cajun pan sausage tacos for breakfast for us. Good.
Man, I enjoy that, man.
It was good.
All I do is you take that hog, just quarter them out, and take them to your processor, and if they have that Cajun pan sausage option, I highly recommend it. What I like to do is cook it just like hamburger meat, and just crack a dozen eggs off into it, and boom, there you go. Some breakfast tacos. And everybody goes crazy about it. You know, you think of, wild hog, and you say, damn, man, that's it's a nasty animal, oh man, shoot them, let them lay. There's a lot of that going on. A lot of people think you shoot them and you don't keep the meat, they're not worth a darn. Well, that's not true. I've made spaghetti out of the pan sausage, and it was pretty good. Did I tell you about that, Frank?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Cajun pan sausage spaghetti. Breakfast, of course, you can make patties out of it, just, do you up some little patties.
Tell you what I really like about it is it's lean, man. It's a lot leaner than store-bought pork, so. This damn pine wood.
And it's cheap. It's really cheap to do up a hog, so. Well, at least our food's gonna have the pine flavor.
You do any outdoors in Texas, you're gonna have pine flavored food. That's for damn sure.
Well, he told me to find some wood, preferably not pine. Well, we're in a pine forest.
I mean, that was really just that little kindling I put down in there to get it started. That's what was making it smoky. So now that we got that done, we're all right. Let's see if we can get this steadier.
Pretty cool though. We both enjoy, and like Frank has mentioned in some other videos, we are not professionals at all. We're just two average guys. I've done some hunting in the past. Nowhere near experienced at all. At all. So we're just two guys just trying to figure it out, have a good time and just kind of video our experiences with you guys. We enjoy it. Frank actually camps quite a bit. He does this stuff. I mean, this is all his little hobo pot here, and
yeah, it's pretty good for hiking, man. Me and my son, we do a lot of hiking and primitive camping.
you can see he's got all kind of tools. I mean, this is a spoon and a knife. I mean,
look, you can even open your bottle of wine with this one. I mean,
dude, I'm telling you what.
I'm not a big wine drinker, so
A guy in prison would pay a lot of money for this.
I use this as a if I need to dig into a tree for something, coring device.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And if y'all have ever watched It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, old Frank, man, he'd love to have this as a toe knife.
Toe knife.
This is a bad dude right here, Frank.
Yeah, man. Ain't as bad as this dude.
But yeah, Frank's always going out doing camping trips, him and his son. And to be honest with you guys, I don't really camp. I really would like to get into it and do a lot more camping. I do have a place, a family lease, and we have campers and all that stuff out there. But there's nothing like getting out here and going back to the basics of real hunting. No bait, no deer blinds, It's just neat. It's really neat, and
It's a challenge for sure.
And to be honest with you, it's just, will we be successful? I mean, I'm pretty optimistic. I think we found some good signs. I think if you put in the time on any piece of property, you find a game trail. We know people hunt out here. We know people are successful every year out here. I think you put in the time, and you'll at least see something.
And he ain't got no choice to get involved with the camping, because now that we've taken it to wanting to start bow hunting and coming out here and scouting and hunting public land, he's got no choice. We're gonna have to pitch tents at the hunters camp, and won't be quite as primitive as what me and my son do, but it'll still be pretty primitive.
Yeah.
Primitive. We'll call it lush primitive, because we'll have something to take a poop in, which is pretty ritzy, if you ask me.
We'll have something to take a poop in?
Oh yeah, man, I got us a nice little 5-gallon bucket design with a pool noodle wrapped around it,
Nice. Got a bidet on it? No.
We'll rig something up with a foot pump. Hey, hand me that canteen behind you. Well, you just missed it. We just took the beans off the pot, bush stove, cooked them beans up, had them pretty much boiling in just a couple minutes. So I'm gonna pour a little bit out for my buddy Chris. We got some sandwiches in the bag, beans and jalapenos, and bon appetit. There's the lake right here. Not a bad view, but like I said, for hunting, I think we're not the only people that know about this. We saw a number of discarded objects and some trash. So
some beer cans.
Yeah, we obviously, if you're out in the wilderness, you need to pack in and pack out what you pack in. So we're big on conservation and taking care of the environment. So that's why we didn't start a big fire to cook these beans up. We just used a little hobo stove, and we'll make sure we leave no trace. So
that's right.
All right. Well, we've just breaking camp from our lunch break. As you can see, all we got left of our passing is just a little ash pile right here. So leave no trace, man. What you pack in, pack out. We're gonna head over to our prime location that we think we got a good shot at killing the deer this bow season and hanging camera. So I'm gonna get off camera, and I'll pick you back up whenever we hang the camera, kind of explain what we got going on over there, let Chris explain that, and then that'll probably be it for the day. When we come back, we're gonna do some trailblazing, trying to figure out the quickest way to and from where we're gonna hunt. So yeah, we'll pick you back up whenever we get back over to the other location. It's a good hike. How far do you think we are away from that other spot?
Oh man, we're a good way.
Well,
good Texas mile.
Either way, we'll get there eventually.
Coming off this right of way, we got heavy game trails off the right of way into a watering hole. I'd say probably about 50 yards off the road with some nice bedding area. This is what you're looking for. At least this is what we're looking for as a bow hunting spot. At least we got some pretty good shooting lanes all in here, and like I said, there's plenty of signs, so we're gonna give it a go. We're gonna throw a camera up and come back in a couple weeks and see what we got. Something very interesting here. You ever hear a tree fall in the woods?
Yeah.
We just did.
Yeah.
Ain't that something?
Hey, maybe something. Maybe we jumped something.
Maybe so. Anyways, like we were saying, the main thing about setting the camera up on public land is you probably don't want to buy too nice of a camera, too expensive of a camera, because there's a pretty good chance that somebody's going to come along and claim this bad boy as their own. I'd like to think not, but this is public land, and there are people out there that just, you know, it's part of it. So we're going to set this camera up here on this tree. And
while Chris is wrapping that camera up, I'll take you around and just kind of explain what we found. What we found was some heavily traveled game trails right through here, right? We found a lot of deer tracks, some hog tracks. We found a lot of bedding off to our right and left, and a watering hole right there. So when we get in past this, if you walk down this way, two distinct game trails split off, and you see where they get onto the pipeline. They'll come out through the left and right side of these trees, pretty much this grove. And so what we're doing is we picked a pretty centrally located tree. Chris is tightening down the game camera now, and this camera will give us a view of that heavily traveled area, the watering hole, kind of this highway, this wilderness highway that we see, and we'll come back and check it in 2 weeks and see what we got. So we're thinking about placing our stand in this tree as well, because if you can see, all the way back to that brush line, we're open, and as we follow it around, we have quite the view all the way to the back of the real brushed up area. So if the deer are moving through this area, we should be able to see them pretty early and start calling to them, try and get them close enough for us to get a bow shot on them. Look at that rub, Chris. Do you see that little tree? You see that?
We'll
I didn't even know it. Deer rub or something else, you be the judge. We saw another one. There's another one right over here. Looks like there's a pretty good rub line going on. See, got another one here. And this is what looks like either a hog bed or could be a deer bed possibly. Hey Chris, look. Rub line maybe? So they are definitely in here, and we feel pretty good about our chances of seeing some deer. And you know, if you want to kill deer, gotta make sure you where deer are, right? So we're seeing the signs, and Chris got our game camera hung.
Seeing a lot of deer signs, seeing a whole bunch of hog signs though.
Yeah.
So we'll play it by ear. We'll see how it goes. After about 5 miles, we can finally see the truck. And old Frankie here, he's beating this old 26-year-old. That's a bad dude right there. Anyways, we had a good time. You know, it's always tough going to a new area that you don't know, but you got to get out there and put in the work. You got to, man. Otherwise, you're just not going to be successful. You might get lucky, yeah, but it's so much more rewarding actually looking for signs, looking for game trails, looking for food sources, water sources.
All right, we made it back to the truck. So just to kind of recap, summarize the video. First thing we did that we didn't show on camera for obvious reasons, we'd like to keep where we are a trade secret, if you will. I mean, that's most hunters and guys watching this show are probably very similar to us. I'm sure the people that have hunted here for a long time don't necessarily want us putting all the information out about where we are either. It's Sam Houston National Forest. It's 160 something thousand acres. We selected a parcel on a topographic map, kind of went over that and looked for some draws and some water and some creek beds and some things that we thought would have a good possibility for deer. And we came out today. It's June 13th. We walked a bunch of pipelines in the section that we're wanting to hunt. Found a bunch of game trails, bunch of sign of both hog and deer, and yeah. So we didn't like the original first couple places that we went to. They were just a little bit too tight, too compact, and but we did find one that we really like. So we put up a camera, and we'll check it again in 2 weeks or so. And you got anything else to add?
Man, you hit the nail on the head, Frankie. We put in a lot of work today. Did some really good scouting. I'm pretty proud of us, to be honest, man. We covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, we don't have a pedometer or a step meter or anything, but we walked all the 5 or 6 miles today, probably in the woods.
Yeah, and there was a lot of spots we came across that were promising, and then we've kept finding better and better and better and better, and that's what it's about, guys. Man, find the one that just feels right. That has the right signs. There's a lot of game out here. I mean, people, you don't see a lot of trophies come off this place, that people post. Now, I want to say it's probably because they don't put in the time. You got to get out here and hunt. This is not a type of hunting where you get in a deer blind and you turn, your feeder goes off at 4 o'clock and boom, you got, does all in your corral. It just don't work like that out here. It's pretty primitive, it's just real hunting, So we put in the work today and we did a good job, and Frankie described it pretty well.
And this ain't the end of it. We go pull that camera in 2 weeks. Hopefully we'll see it chock full of deer, and everything's good, and that's where we hunt. And if it's not, we'll come back out another day and we'll walk 5 more miles and find another spot that feels right to us.
We'll cross this spot right off and go try another piece of property.
Do it all again.
Yes, sir.
Well, appreciate y'all coming with us in the woods, and yeah, we're getting this thing rolling, this channel rolling. I mean, we're practicing, still learning the videography, but if you want to comment, like, subscribe, man, we'll answer any questions, or short of telling you exactly where we are. We appreciate you, man. Appreciate you watching, and we'll catch you next time.